Hello, Michelle. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Muriel. How are you?
I'm very well, very, very well. Beautiful day today. So let's do that interview and share a little bit of things about you. Well, actually, that's my first question. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself, please?
Certainly. I guess over the years I've had a number of different what I call lives, as in sort of work experience and backgrounds and various things like that. And I started out in the travel industry. I went from there into magazine advertising, quite a sort of a bit of a foray into a number of different things. Um, I've always had a passion for cooking. That's sort of one of my things, and it's been one of those areas where I guess over the years I've always sort of dabbled in it and thought about various ways of doing things, and that's probably where it brings me to today is you know my cooking passion.
Yes, definitely. And you are so good at it. I've tasted some of your food and I just love it. Yes, it's absolutely amazing what you come up with. Well, yes, exactly right. So, would you like to share a little bit about what you do exactly?
Absolutely. So I guess I've got a couple of different things I'm currently doing, but one of my passions, one of the things I'm really um, wanting to establish more is my cooking. I believe that cooking is the foundation, our food is the foundation of so many different things. And I have a real passion for cooking and being innovative or creative. I always love trying a recipe, but then I'll tweak it to suit. And I think it's one of those things that it's being able to go back to those basics, which I think is so important, is being able to show people how they can make something from scratch, how they can make it with a few ingredients, and helping people to understand what cooking and what food can all be about. I think there's so many things out there these days which are just so pre-prepared, so full of additives and preservatives, and I want to be able to show people the basics and how to get back to using their own food, using the simple ingredients and looking at what they can make themselves. It's one of those things. Sometimes I'll get disappointed when I'll go out and I'll buy something. I'll go, oh, maybe I could have made that better at home. And that really sort of tweaked my interest. I guess the other thing that really sort of, I guess, started this even more so was that I have a couple of food allergies. And one of those is MSG. So I'm very, very sensitive to anything that's got that flavoring added to it. And that's why I started doing a lot of this and going, okay, well, I can't have this or I can't have that. What can I do? So that started off the path of investigating a little bit more and certainly being able to going back to baking basics and making my own food and making food that's always delicious. I think one of the things we always find is sometimes when people have allergies or and I'll use gluten, for example, they'll often say, oh, it tastes like cardboard. Well, it doesn't have to. You can have the right ingredients. It might be just tweaking some items or some things that you can have food that actually does taste like food and is very enjoyable to not only make but to eat as well.
That's for sure. And yes, you came at retreat and you cooked. And yes, your food. I'm vegan, and the retreat was vegetarian vegan, and you did amazing flavors. Yes, with those things. And you're right. A lot of people now are actually allergic to a lot of things. There's a lot of things going on because of what they put into the food. And yes, such a beautiful way to having the solution to all that with the test as well together. So that brings me to my first question, but it seems already obvious. What is your passion? Because you are such a passionate person. But
Yeah, I probably already covered a little bit, but I guess if I go even a little bit deeper than previously, certainly passion is my food. And I think it's come about like I used to see posts, I still probably sometimes do see posts about people with allergies, and I'll go, I've got this favorite recipe for my grandma's or my mum's, and I'm gluten free, or my daughter's gluten free, or we've got a member that can't have this preservative or this additive. So I was going, oh, but all you need to do is change this or change that. So I started to do a little bit more research, and that's where it came about. So that's probably even developed in even more of a passion for what I do. And I think the other thing is that we've always been so busy, and it's been so easy to pick up something that's already made or a packet mix or along those sorts of lines. And I think getting back to basics, and that's what my passion is getting people back to the basics, showing them how they can make things from from the scratch, and using the right ingredients, and that's what it's all about. So my passion is, I probably should share a little bit of it, is definitely making chocolates. I'm a bit of a self-taught chocolate maker, and I love making chocolates, and I love showing people how they can make their own chocolates. Sweets then, or sort of desserts, is the next area I love doing. It's always one of those things, if I was going somewhere, my friends would say, oh, can you do the cake? can you bring dessert? So that was sort of along those passionate lines of just being able to do something. But I always love creating and doing something a little bit different that, but also shows, you know, great food, like whether it's plant-based or whether it's your raw foods, and making desserts that are raw desserts that are edible, that aren't full of all of the preservatives and additives and those sorts of things, and making things from scratch. That's my passion, and I want to be able to share that with people and show people how they can make their own food and also know what ingredients to use.
Yes, 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 absolutely. And have that beautiful flavor, because that's what you bring. You really bring the flavors. I mean, that's what I think. I was really amazed because obviously my background is French. Huh? So, you know, there's a big thing about food and ingredients, obviously, in France. But I was absolutely amazed by the way you lift up the flavors and the way it pops up into your mouth. I mean, you really know how to use that and which ingredients you use. You really have, you really have a gift, and that's for sure. So, so that brings me to my other questions. I already know the answer, but what are you doing differently than others? Because exactly right, there's a lot of cooking shows, there's a lot of people, you know, offering cooking classes online. But what do you do that is different?
And you're so right. I think with where we are at the moment, and previously, and also probably into the future, there's certainly a lot of online classes, whether it be from people just in your general day-to-day life, or you well-known chefs and various things like that. I think one of the things that I pride myself on is taking people back to the basics, getting people to understand the importance of, and I know I've mentioned a couple of times, that using the right ingredients so that they get the right result. Having them understand why it's important to have certain items at room temperature to get them to emulsify so that you get the desired effect or the desired outcome. So one of the things I think, again, so not only that, but I think also a point of difference is that I'll work with people. So if they have allergies, or if they have intolerances, or they have sensitivities and they've got favorite recipes, I'll work with them to make sure that we can change that recipe so that it takes them back to those childhood memories, or it takes them back to going, oh my gosh, I made this for our family dinner, I made this for our gathering and it was great. They're the things that I want to be able to show people how to do, is take them back to the basics. It's very easy to follow recipes, and I'm all for that. And one of the big ones that'll say, make a recipe first, but then you can tweak it to suit. And that's also the important thing. So whether you need to tweak it to suit your allergies, intolerances, or simply just your flavors, or it might be you can't have onion or garlic. Well, what else can we do to still give that base flavor into a dish? So there's lots of different ways that I'd like to think that I can be a point of difference for people and show them how they can actually make something and not be fearful of it.
Yes. And what I really liked about you as well is the way you follow the seasons also with the ingredients, and the way you know what to use at the right time, and really making the most of the ingredients as well. I think what you do is amazing with that as well. I mean, because you really follow.
Oh, absolutely. And I think sometimes we get caught up going, oh, I'd love to have this. Oh, wait a minute, the ingredient's not there. So it's breaking it down and having people understand what fruit and veggies are in season and what we can do with those at the time, and plan ahead so that, you know, you've got something you want to do and it's not until, you know, the Christmas time frame. Okay, well, let's look at a recipe of what we can do and be prepared to make that when it's that time frame. But certainly using the ingredients that are in season are going to give you wonderful results with your food.
Yes, yes, and I think it's so good what you are doing. So that brings us to your skills and your strengths.
My skills and strengths, I think they're varied, and I think I've gathered a lot of skills and strengths along the way from all the various different sort of career backgrounds that I've had. I'd probably say that even when I was younger, if I was a bit tired or stressed, I'd go and make a cake. That was my release mechanism. And so from there, my strength has been understanding the recipes. You know, I can look at a cake mixture and go, oh, it's not quite right yet. It needs more flour, or it needs more of this, or it needs something else. It's looking at what needs to be done. Converting recipes, that's certainly one of my strengths that I love to do. You know, I had someone recently that required a gluten-free birthday cake, and I made a 3-tiered cake, vanilla, strawberry, and chocolate, and they were all gluten-free layers. It was a chocolate ganache on the outside, which is all gluten-free, and they were just amazed. And it was just like, oh my gosh, wow, the flavors. And it was like, well, I'd use the strawberries to emulsify them right down to make the puree to go into the cake mix for that, and the vanilla. So it's yeah, it's just my passion. They're my strengths and my skills, is taking a recipe and taking it to that next level. Or I might see something and go, oh, I can make that. But let's look at how I can make that is easy for everyone. You know, it might be a couple of technical things, but I'll go, okay, how can I make this a little bit easier or simpler that is going to help people? So I think they're my skills and my strengths, is understanding about preservatives and additives, understanding about allergies and insensitivities, and looking at what I can do to help people change recipes and change their diets if they need to.
That's it. That's it. To be healthy as well, which is really the subject for the moment. Everyone wants to be healthy. Everyone wants to eat well. I mean, with the times that we are going through, it's obviously a very good timing to actually eat good foods and to actually boost your immune system and to be really eating the right ingredients. So what you are doing is good all around. I mean, really, technically.
Absolutely. And I think that that's possibly one of our challenges with where we are currently, is that there's so many food allergies, there's so many illnesses. And if we go back 30, 40, 50 years ago, we didn't seem to have these allergies, or perhaps they weren't as pronounced. But I think one of the things that we fall into the trap of is that there's so many prepackaged food. Oh, I'll just pick up that pack and I'll make the pancakes that way, or I'll make a cake that way, because that's the ease of doing things. Whereas, you know, 20, 30, 40 years ago, they didn't have those types of items. And I sort of think, well, is that causing some of our underlying challenges health-wise? And again, that's where I want to come back to basics 101 and show people how they can make things without having to grab a packet. And they might think, oh, it's going to be quicker. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes you just need to know a few steps ahead and pre-planning, and you can get that made.
Yes, yes, you have to break it down, but you've got all that knowledge, that's for sure. I've seen you into action, and
Thank you.
really know how to break it down and make it simple and easy for the people, which is important because sometimes they can be, scared or thinking, oh, it's going to be a lot of work, but you really know how to bring them to the results and how to break it down, which I find fascinating as well with your knowledge. So yes, so why are the right ingredients and food so important?
Yeah, the right ingredients are so important to get the dish right. Like I could use an example. Let's say chocolates, for example. You need to make sure that you're using the right chocolates. You can make your own chocolates. You can make raw chocolate, which is one of the things I do teach people to do. But you can also use really good quality chocolate, and that's going to result in the outcome of your chocolates being really silky and smooth. And it's also going to help when you're using the right chocolate in your ganache or for icing a cake, or even in your cake mix. Just having an understanding about what's important, and making sure that you do choose the right ingredients, whether it be something that's sort of easily found, is where I always like to share my knowledge with people and go, this is where you can get that ingredient. I know all of the chocolatiers use a particular type of brand or brands of chocolate. Sometimes they're not easily available, or they might be a price point that people can't afford, or it's just not in their budget. So I'd love to be able to go and show them, okay, that's on your budget. This is an item that you can use that will give you similar results. Perhaps not the same, but they'll give you very close results. And this is why you wouldn't choose this particular type of chocolate, because it's too high in certain ingredients and you won't get those results that you're after.
Right. Yes, that's it. Because you need to know where to shop and what to do, and with all that knowledge, you can really help people to choose the right one, and that is also awesome. So, look, I just love what you do, obviously, and
Thank you.
and obviously I've tested it, so I really know what it's all about. But yes, it would be great, obviously, if all those people knew how to contact you and do those classes. And I think you are going to do some lives now where you're going to show some of the recipes maybe and start getting people following you. So where can I find you? Where can I follow you so they can see all your knowledge and what?
Absolutely. Yeah. So my Facebook page is Fabulous Living.
Right.
Create, Innovate, and Inspire. My website's currently under construction, but Fabulous Living, my Facebook page is probably the best way to locate me at this stage. And just to share the Create, Innovate, Inspire, I love creating, and I want to show people how they can create. The innovation is showing how we can innovate recipes and change recipes to suit. And inspire, I want to be able to inspire people to get back to basics and do their own cooking and make their own delicious desserts or salads, or whatever it may be. That's my goals, my intentions.
And I think you've got an ebook coming out as well.
Yes, I'm currently working on an ebook. Well, probably a couple of ebooks at the moment, but I've often post different photos or things I've created onto my Facebook page, and I'm constantly asked for the recipes. So I'm currently working on an ebook with about 5 different desserts in them. Some that'll be what I would say are healthy and indulgent, and some of them just purely indulgent. So whether it is a raw cheesecake with a gorgeous homemade chocolate topping, date base, raspberry filling, or whether it is a Toblerone mousse. So all of those sorts of things are going to be what I'll be sharing in the ebook, which I'm hoping to have out as soon as I can.
That is awesome. Can't wait to have a look at all those recipes. And I'm sure all the rest of the people will be really amazed as well, and to be able to follow you up. Well, thank you for your time, Michelle.
Thank you.
To you. And yes, cannot wait to hear more from you and to be able to see all those recipes, because I know the gift that you are, and it's absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Michelle.
My pleasure. Thank you, Muriel.
Bye.
Bye.